Hi, welcome to this week's episode of Funny Things That Happen to Real Estate Agents. I'm your host, Sam Staskal. Joining me tonight is Holly Meyer Lucas from Florida, and she's got quite the history, so it'll be fun. Let's get started. Maybe. Okay, so let's bring her on. Hi, Holly.
Hello. How are you?
Oh, good. I can hear you. Good. So let's start with your history. So you're married to a professional baseball player.
I am.
Right?
Yep.
That's fun.
Yeah, it is fun. It's different. I actually am doing this from my home office. So my husband he played baseball for 14 seasons, and now he works as a coach. And actually, you're in the Wisconsin area. He was with the Brewers last year. So we were in Appleton. So last year they had that weird abbreviated season. And so we were in Appleton for, because that's where they kept their like little taxi squad. Wisconsin's awesome. Love it.
It is.
Love it. Yeah. Underrated state, in my opinion.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Go Brewers. He's with the Giants this year, but we've lived everywhere, all over. I'm actually in his office right now. So the office in our house is actually his. So this is not set. These are like
turf shoes
like
only.
So if I was trying, so here's the thing, as you pulled me back, I was like, God, that's obnoxious. If I was trying to do a baseball background, like I would make it look a lot better than that. This is not intentional. All these, yeah.
It's all right.
How
did you end up meeting him did you meet him before he played ball?
No, he was in the minors. He was in the Atlanta Braves organization. We've been everywhere. He was drafted by the Royals. He was with the Atlanta Braves. I was working in healthcare. We met at a bar. He hit on me.
Don't we all?
Right, as one does. As one does.
Yeah.
He told me he was an underwater welder. Anyway, he was in the minors at the time, and his career moving all over the place. He was in the minors for 10 years. So if you're not a baseball person, being in the minor leagues means you're being called up, sent down, moved backwards, forward, sideways. And so I got really, really good at finding homes, which is a skill set as a realtor. You know this. It's a skill set that's really, really important, being able to like quick browse online, figure out the area, blah, blah, blah. So yeah.
Cool. So how long have you been in real estate then?
So he got called up his name's Ed. He got called up by the Miami Marlins after like 10 years in the minors. And I realized that his career was actually, after 10 years, was actually like, now it was lucrative.
Going somewhere.
Yeah. So I didn't have to, I was working in healthcare sales and really working my ass off to support us. And so I really, really, really love real estate. So him getting called up gave us the small bit of financial freedom to enable me to, which is one thing I think you can appreciate this as a woman in real estate. If you're leaving a career, like if your career track, no one gets out of college and is like, I want to be a realtor.
Right.
Some people do, but there's always a career track that you abort. And usually you do that when you have kids, or it's different for women.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. What did you do before real estate?
I had a whole career before. I was a graphic designer for almost 20 years.
Oh God, that's so convenient.
To do real estate. Yeah, it helps a lot.
Oh, I wish I was you. Yeah.
Well, I don't wish I was me back in the cube world, I had to break out of the cube. Couldn't do it.
So you were a graphic designer for 20 years?
Yeah.
You must be like a pioneer of all the technology. 20 years is a long time for graphic design technology, right? Like you must have been on. That's interesting. Very cool.
Many different softwares and systems. Yep.
Yeah.
So now I know what to do in my real estate career too. It helps.
Do you use Canva?
I don't. Just because I have a graphic design background, I use actual graphic design software. But Canva is what most agents use, is Canva.
Yeah, I feel like a graphic designer. I'm not.
I know, that's the problem.
Every time I do stuff in Canva, I'm like, I am so savvy.
You're like, look at
you
this.
graphic
You
designers
go to
are
another
fake.
agent's page and they have the same picture.
Yeah, same graphic. Yeah.
I don't have to
I love
worry
it.
about that.
Whenever we do. So my team is actually like on the marketing side. I'm being self-deprecating, but we're very, very good. I have a marketing director who's amazing. and she is very good at the graphic design, right? But whenever we send an ad to like a media operations, like a newspaper, or like one of our listing ads, and they can tell that it was not created, like when they're like, can you send us the vector file, or, and I'm like, it's Canva. Also, I put it in my story and downloaded it from story so I could get the sticker, right? Real estate, we're advanced.
Right. All right. So the name of the company that you work for is Meyer.
Yeah, it's Meyer Lucas. It's the Meyer Lucas team.
Right.
So my maiden name is Meyer. My husband's last name is Lucas. There is an agent whose name is Holly Lucas, who was arrested multiple times for stealing drugs out of people's homes. So I had to keep my maiden name. Is she what?
Is she your agent? Oh, she's not an agent.
No, there's an agent. So the reason why I have my maiden name is because there's literally an agent whose name is Holly Lucas, who is like, she went down like guns a-blazing, has been arrested. So when I first started, my SEO quality was like, well, there is a Holly Lucas realtor and she is very much in jail. I was like, well,
not everybody can say that. I mean, there's only one of me.
Yeah, your last name's cool. You got like, that's a whole Sam Staskal. Sam Staskal. Love it.
I'm the only one.
Love it.
So you use the lemon for branding, Meyer's Lemon.
Yeah. So Meyer Lemon Tree is a thing. I didn't brand that, which I've had people ask me. I love that question so much because I'm like, yes, no, but that would be cool if that was the case. Meyer Lemon Tree is an actual thing. But it's been so convenient because when I created our logo, I wanted there to be something that you can touch, see, feel, all the things. And lemons are so, I love lemons so much, right? Like they're fresh and right now they're having such a moment. For the last 2-3 years, they've they're very trendy right now. Yeah. That was lucky.
Yeah.
Very lucky.
That's cool.
Yeah.
All right. So how long did you say you were in real estate though, actually selling?
I've been licensed now for 6 years. I started my team pretty much immediately. I have about 15 Yahoos that are on my team. They're absolutely amazing. Between agents and support staff, I have a leadership team. I'm kind of a stickler for that, having agents not like report directly to me. I have like a layer in between, which is cool. And yeah.
So you've only sold though in Florida?
Yes.
You've only been licensed in Florida. Okay.
Yeah. So when my husband was with the Marlins, I was like, okay, well, we're going to stay here forever and ever. I'm never leaving. Going to remove me with a crane. I was pregnant with our first son. And so we have not even one kid yet. And we bought a 5-bedroom house. I was like, we need all the space in the 20 years that we're going to be here. I'm never moving. I'll move everybody else. Never moving myself again. We lived literally, he and I moved, 30,000 times. So we're in the Jupiter, Florida area. My agents cover from, we have a pretty, actually, I don't know. How big is your geographic area that you work?
I usually drive, the most I would drive would be like an hour and a half.
Yeah. So our area, if we're driving an hour and a half to do real estate, we are way outside of our zone. Like our zone is really, really compacted, it's always so interesting when I talk to agents across the country, because like an hour even is probably a little bit too far for us.
Well, you have to consider that I'm very rural. Like my town is 12,000 people. I can't survive on just my town.
Yeah.
So in all the neighboring towns, we're the largest one in the area. So all the neighboring towns are like 500 people, 600 people, 2,000 people, they're small. So you have to cover a lot of ground. I don't always go that far. Usually it's for a good reason I go that far. Usually it's, I try to stay as close to home as I can.
Well, I'm sure I remember when I used to go to Iowa for work. And then my husband was with the Royals and their farm system is there. And I just remember you'd be passing properties and driving for like 10 minutes passing the same property. Like to get to a neighbor's house, you might as well drive an hour. The properties are so big. Yeah. What's the biggest piece of property you've ever sold? Like land-wise?
Land-wise was, what was it, 15 acres?
Oh, God.
So not a lot.
That is so big. If we have
I've only been in real estate for 2 years. So yeah, if you consider the big farms that I'm surrounded by, they are huge.
Yeah.
I haven't landed one of those yet.
Even 15 acres though, like in our area, if we have a listing that has an acre lot, that is like, holy smokes,
Yeah.
build a guest house.
Right.
I'm calling me. Property's huge.
Yeah. Totally different here. But the
cool.
property values are a lot lower here too. But
How
that's
much
a
is-
whole other story.
How much is 15 acres where you are?
That one was 240,000.
Oh my God. That's amazing. That's amazing. We should all move to Wisconsin.
No, don't.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I love Wisconsin. We were in when we were in Appleton, we went on this like little vacation to Sheboygan.
Yes.
You know where that is? So cool. Such a cool spot. Underrated. Wisconsin's underrated in general.
It is. All right. So what kind of stories you got for me?
I have all the stories. I have like, yeah. So pick one. I can't just pick one.
Well, you can tell more than one.
And I don't really have like, I have many like anecdotes and stories and things that have happened. Like I feel like there's not, at least in my memory bank at this exact moment, it's really hard to tell a funny story in real estate without throwing a former client or another agent or under the bus, right? Because all the funny shit that actually happens behind the scenes is all the bullshit that we go through with the other agent, the seller, the buyer, right? Yeah. And so like when something happens, it's like you go back to the office, and I was just asking my admin, I was like, help me remember a time where I came into the office and was like, you will not believe what just happened. But it's like there's no way to tell a lot of the stories because like those are, because a lot of it is created by some wackadoodle thing that some person has done. So anyway, I'm in the Jupiter area of South Florida, which is like inundated with snowbirds. It's where Mar-a-Lago is. It's where the Kennedys spent, their winter White House.
Trump stories, since that's that area. I mean, do you have any fun stories related to that?
So many Trump stories.
Not
political. No,
not political at all. I don't want to go there. I'm just thinking something crazy that happened because he was there.
Not gonna do it. So we have a lot of Trump-related real estate stories because of Mar-a-Lago being right here. For example, we couldn't do drone photography forever and ever and ever because if he's at Mar-a-Lago, you can't launch. The flight path
was
also
that only when he was president?
No, I think it's still. I think him being actually him being a former president is actually worse because now that he is a former president and his residence is Mar-a-Lago officially, they have created infrastructure around him, that being his home. So like the flight path in our area now goes over a whole different area of, not a whole different area, but they moved the flight path, which is really unfortunate for a lot of people. But yeah, you can't, like, you'll get down to the island, try to launch your drone, and you can't.
Right.
And it's like that split second of like, is this a technology fail? And it's like, no, it's the president is here.
Right.
Lots and lots and lots of things. His kids just bought 2 double lots, like not even down 30 seconds away from where we do business. And yeah, lots of Secret Service stuff. I mean, so I live in an area, just to set the stage for this, my specialty is working with professional athletes and entertainers. Like my thing is my personal thing. So is celebrities, and that's what I do. And the girls on my team work from, with first-time home buyers all the way up to super mega luxury properties. And to give gauge, like we have a $30 million listing right now that is under contract. We also have a $50,000 condo that is under contract right now. And
so I have to ask you, when you list something for like 30 million, what % commission do you get for that?
I love that question.
Blow me away. Come on.
I would love to blow you away because it is very much aligned with what you would normally, how do you say that? Because it's like a realtor violation if you imply that it's, how do you say that? Like the whole
right
monopoly thing. What is it? Like you can't.
So
it's aligned with
commission. You don't change your commission because it's a higher price property.
A lot of agents will negotiate. And with this one in particular, we didn't.
I can't even imagine.
Yeah,
I can't even
neither,
imagine.
honestly, girl, neither can I. Like every time I think about it, I'm like, it's insanity. But we also have
Yeah.
a $50,000 condo listing that
Yeah.
that is under contract right now, and it is what it is. We have a
Yeah.
weird area here. It does also cost, I will say, the disclaimer with this is that it costs an insane amount of money to market luxury properties how they need to be marketed. This particular listing is a few homes over from where Tony Robbins lives, Billy Joel. Like it's like just kind of la la land. So you have to actually being a graphic designer would be so clutch because of the amount of money you have to spend on just really doing it right.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's not a lot of people with $30 million. So, I mean, you definitely have to have a specific audience there, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. It's
they aren't in Wisconsin.
Yeah. You know
well,
what?
They might be, but
I actually showed this property. It's funny you say that. I showed this property to a guy that was from Wisconsin or Iowa, and he showed up in the most amazing outfit, like just boots and the belt buckle and the hat. So he looked like he was from Texas. Yeah, like the traditional like OK Corral, Texas, or maybe Montana. But he was from Wisconsin, and I was like, bro, with the boots and the like, are you riding a horse? I don't understand. Like, why the get up? You're in Florida right now. Like,
aren't you
why?
hot?
Yeah, like what? I have so many questions with your outfit. Why are you wearing that? Like shin sweat and boots is not cool.
So can you say
Anyway,
like who the biggest celebrity was that you sold a house to?
so I love talking about celebrities who are very publicly living in Jupiter. There's a lot of them, a lot
Really?
of very, very famous people that live in Jupiter. But I specifically never, ever, ever talk about who my specific clients are. I won't even like blink once about it.
Okay, I'll respect
because
that.
here's why, Sam. It's not because I'm like a law-abiding citizen and trying to be honorable.
No,
Just
it's a confidentiality thing.
That is why. But one of the bigger reasons why I never ever disclose who I work with is for their privacy, and that's the most important thing. But the second thing is the second you start talking about who you work with or you reveal who you have worked with, it almost removes the enigma around, like, so for example, Michael Jordan lives in Jupiter. He is not one of my clients. I will say that. But he very famously lives in Jupiter, and I feel like he is probably one of the most famous people of all time. And when you say, like, I'm very exposed in like the media for working with athletes and celebrities, but I don't represent him, right? And so I feel like it creates this among a lot of people, and so I feel like you're never gonna be like, people look to poke holes in that, and it's like, well, she wasn't Michael Jordan's realtor, you know. So I just don't even talk about it at all.
Right. That's smart. So Jerry asked, the average time on the market for 30 million. How long does something like that take to sell?
Okay, so Jerry Doyle, this is a very good question. Because it's a really good question. Typically the days on market for something in the multi-million space like that is in Palm Beach traditionally between 200 days and like 400 days. And the reason being is that there have been significant properties that have taken years. The most expensive property in one of the most expensive properties in the United States just sold like maybe 20 doors down from my listing for 100 or 97 million. Okay. And it was on the market for like 6 years. So the data is skewed, and a lot of real estate trades also off market and behind the scenes. So like a lot of times homes are sold without even hitting the MLS, so the data is kind of skewy. But this one right now with what's happening in Florida, I don't know if this is relevant actually to you. I think, does Wisconsin have state income tax? Yes, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So right now there's a mass migration of high net worth people that are moving between the states with state income tax and the states that don't have them.
I've heard
because of this. Yeah, because it's called the SALT tax thing, which is not a COVID thing. Everyone thinks that this mass migration is because of COVID, and it's not. No. It's because you can't take your state and local tax and write it off your federal anymore, which was a 2018 thing. Anyway, blah blah blah. People are moving in droves, like billionaires. So this space, you were saying earlier, there are only a few people that can afford a $30 million home. Well, all those people are moving to Florida, Texas, Tennessee.
And I'm sure there's a lot more people that can afford it than I'm aware of.
It's great. Me too, girl.
I don't run in that circle.
You do now. You do
Yeah.
now.
I talked to a
1 degree
woman
removed.
I talked to a woman in January she lives in London, and her landlord is Richard Branson.
Oh my gosh.
I know, and I'm like, yeah, you and I aren't in the same circle.
I love it.
Not even close. I couldn't even walk a dog, probably.
That's funny.
Yeah,
I love it. That's
so,
crazy.
you ever what's the craziest thing that you've seen in a property? Like any of them, any range of price or anything?
Well, you're live streaming this on Facebook, right? If anyone
yes.
So I was on.
Don't call me out by name, of course.
No, so I was on Richard Branson's island, Necker Island, over Christmas. And so when you said that, I was like, actually, you're so close to that, actually. Like, girl, you just come on down. We'll be best friends. Here's the thing with this world, though, that's so interesting is that that it's so I hate the cliche, the stereotype where people say that people rich people are just like us. They're not. They are not at all. And it's
I don't have that expectation.
it's not because they're more high maintenance or they're less high maintenance or they're this or they're that or they're whatever. They're typically high net worth people's lifestyles are just so much more complicated than
and they're
mine.
A lot more private because
yes,
they're trying to stay private, where ours are more public and we're more outgoing. We're not trying to be secluded.
Yeah, there's no implication. There's no implication for me having this as my background. I'm not going to end up on TMZ with why does she have a turf? You know what I mean?
Exactly. They're not going to scrutinize everything in your room. Where if you were, something else, you're highly scrutinized. Yeah. So
everything, and it's just complicated. It
makes them. Somebody just put a bunch of lemons. Maybe you know her.
Hallie.
Do you know her?
What's up, girlfriend? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Hallie is one of lemon. Hallie is one of my billionaire clients and friends too. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. She's buying the 30 million one.
She is the funniest person that I know, though. So I hope she thought that was funny. Weird joke. What were you saying?
Back to what's the craziest thing that you've ran into in a home?
Oh my God. So I have so many weird things. So many weird things.
What's the weirdest?
Oh God. A ferret farm in a house that was vacant.
That smelled really bad.
It was the worst smelling thing I've ever smelled in my entire life. Yes, that if you've ever had or dealt with a ferret, it's not even, it's it's ungodly, next level.
It is. It's a very distinct smell.
Very specific, and you'll never forget it.
They even removed their scent thing, but they still smell.
You'll never forget it if you smell it. This house was vacant, and there was a whole, I don't know what it's called, pack, whatever, ferrets that were just running around. So that was super weird. I feel like I have all the, so my
mom used to chase me around and bite the top of my feet. So if I was at a ferret farm, I'd probably be screaming, running around.
It was the weirdest thing ever. And then we weren't sure, we couldn't get a hold of the listing agent. It was one of those those for sale by owner syndicate things. So we couldn't figure out who the owner actually was. And it was are we socially responsible to, because the animals were living in filth. Are we responsible for them to get, it was the weirdest thing. Cause I also really didn't want to deal with it either, which is probably not a great look on me. Oh my God, we've had so many weird things happen. Okay, I'm gonna tell you this one story because this is so animal stories. I have all the animal stories. One of my agents got attacked by a cat, and after she came back to the office, she had scratch marks all over her, blah blah blah, whatever. She told the owner about it, and the owner's answer was that they don't have a cat, and so she was literally
the cat's clawing her to get out.
Random stray cat that was in this house. I feel like random animals are I have so many stories about just random animals.
Happening so many times that they there was a note in the remarks saying don't let the cat out, and then when they lock up you see this cat, so they put it inside. And I've seen so many stories where it wasn't the owner's cat, you know. So it must, I think it happens a lot, because we're so paranoid about their precious pet getting out that you see a stray outside and you're like, oh my God,
Yes, that's funny. That's really funny. Yes. I had someone, I actually one of my listings right now, when they bought the house, they reminded me of that the sellers forgot their cat in the house. So when they moved in, they're like unloading stuff, and there's like a cat in their house that they like didn't know what to do with, and the seller didn't want it. So we got a hold of the seller. This was the weirdest thing ever. We got a hold of the seller, and they they left it there. Yeah, they left it there.
Yeah.
Very weird. And like openly admitted it too. Like it was like, do you not realize that there's like probably like PETA and like animal protection things that are gonna come after you? I have zero tolerance for. Really?
Yes.
That's so sad.
Yes. I just saw one the other day. I went to it and the tenants had moved out and they left their cat outside. Didn't take it with.
Why?
They just,
that's so sad.
Some people are jerks. You know,
so animals, okay, so my team knows this. If anyone on my team is watching this, they will. So I love animals. I love animals. However, I hate, so personal life Holly loves animals, loves all the things with pets. Realtor Holly, oh my God, your dogs and your cats and your lizards and your ferrets. And oh my God, if I could not have to manage another client's pets, that would be the ideal scenario for my professional. It's so funny, whenever I'm on a listing appointment with one of my agents and the seller would be like, oh, I hope you're a dog person. And the dog's like jumping up on me. And I'm like, please stop. Yeah. And you have to like
in your butt.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, he's fine.
Oh my God. I get so over it. It's so unattractive. And like, I feel like it's such a bad look to say like, I am not a dog person. Right? Like it's you can't do that. You can't not be a dog person.
You have to say it's fine. Even if it's not fine. Even as it's humping your leg, it's fine.
The worst. What is a funny, okay, so here's a funny story that happened. We had so there was a luxury listing that was on the market and it was beautiful and being sold fully furnished. Well, we got a phone call from someone who wanted to see it, and he showed up in a Lamborghini. One of my agents did the showing. And he shows up in this like Lamborghini, talks the talk, walks the walk, looks and smells and seems like the real deal. And he's going to put a cash offer in on this house. This is like a $6 million listing. And she is super excited because this is like one of the first big transactions that she's done. And everything was just like falling into place. It was the perfect scenario. Well, fast forward to later that night, he starts asking about the furniture that's included, and he starts asking about about the couches and the beds, and he didn't get a chance to sit on one of the couches, and he wants to make sure that they're comfortable. Can he come back to the property and check out the couches? And she's like, okay, fine, whatever. She meets him the next day. He checks out the couches. They're comfortable. It gets and he's in a different car this time. So
then there was another Focus this time.
No, it was equally nice. But it was like two like different sports. It was like a Lotus or something, or like two different sports cars. It was like a Lamborghini. It was like you wouldn't have both. Right. Like that was a big red flag for me. I was like, you either have a Maybach or I feel like people don't have, even the wealthiest of the wealthy. Anyway, so then he needs to come back for another time. He was gonna submit the offer, and it's just like red flag, right? But I can't nail this guy down. He provided proof of funds. He checked out online, and I am a freaking sleuth with this stuff. I can sniff out a fraud in 30 seconds, and it's kind of a point of pride too, to be honest with you. Everything about him aligned, everything I could find online. I mean, everything start to finish. It's just red flag after red flag, and he's running my agent around, who is also now foregoing other opportunities. You know, when you like squat at a restaurant, don't do that, because so I put myself through school as a bartender, and I'm a stickler for this. Don't do that, because the server can't get other right. You're taking their table, and so this guy was taking her table proverbially by running around, and she was, now it's costing her money, but he might be buying a $6 million property. So I'm trying so hard to figure out if this guy's the real deal or not, because if it is, cool, I'll be happy for her and I'll throw my weight behind it. But if not, I gotta know. Also, the listing agent, who's a friend of mine, keeps calling me and is like, why? I'm gonna call him Brian. Why is Brian needing to come back to the property again? Like, can you find out from, I'll call the agent Jessica. Excuse me. Can you find out from Jessica what the status is? Like, it's just becoming a thing. So I get Brian on the phone and I just start peppering him with questions, just trying to get to the bottom of who, because we couldn't figure out also how he had money. He provided his proof of funds. And so of course I'm like, oh, he's a drug dealer, obviously, right?
Right. Or he inherited it.
As one is. Or yeah, or that. But usually when you inherit money, your parents are someone and there's some kind of, you're in a database. He was nowhere, but also not nowhere, right? Anyway, So I ask him questions, and he starts saying that he wants to spend the night in the home to test out the beds.
More of a
And
fetish?
and yeah, and he's like, no. So I was like, what do you mean test? Like, because I'm pretty direct. I'm like, what do you mean test out the beds, or like get the fuck out of here? And he's like, oh no, it's not like that. Like I'm really into the aura and the energy of the property. And he really was saying everything. Like I was literally 50-50 on it. I was like, he could be the real deal, and he just wants to feel the property. Like, so I called the listing agent, and I'm like, listen, this guy wants to spend the night. Would your sellers allow that? Because it was a vacant. They were out of town. So it was like whatever. And she's like, oh God, like, when you have good relationships with other agents, and this is a girl that I have a good relationship with, and she was like, she literally said, she was like, if it wasn't not for you, like if it was for another agent, I would say absolutely not. But like, I feel like all your clients are kind of weird, which was a compliment. A compliment. Anyway, so she makes it happen. And this guy, literally the sellers agreed to it, and it was in a gated community. So for whatever reason, that happened. So we still can't figure this thing out. He's still not. So we like spent the night there. Nothing weird happened that we know of. They allowed it to happen. Blah blah blah.
All the stuff's still there.
Yeah, the stuff was still there. It was the weirdest thing ever. Anyway, fast forward. So the way that I figured out what he was doing, because I couldn't figure out. I'm like, you're not like laundering. Like, what is your end goal here?
Right.
Because when he was there, he wasn't like taking pictures of himself. Anyway, so we end up going under contract, and money gets wired to the title company immediately for the escrow. It's like, let's see, $200,000. The title company accepts the wire, and we plan the inspection. And this is where I'm like grilling this guy, because there's something that's just not right about it.
Right.
And in the conversation with him, he finally revealed himself, because he said he was talking about how awesome the kitchen is and how much he loves the kitchen, and he used the word barbecue in a way that was like, wait a minute, if you're so high net worth, he was like, yeah, I love how like, all my, this space is perfect for us to, have a big barbecue, and, we could put out like all the food right here. And he was talking about how much he was going to enjoy the space by like where he would display the food. And so people that are high net worth people, it was like this like aha moment where I was like, high net worth people don't comment on that. Like it's implied that there's space to display food. And also they aren't cooking the barbecue themselves usually. Yeah, like it's not a thing.
Usually. Yeah.
Wait a minute. Yeah. So anyway, what ended up happening, and this is more of a weird story than a funny story, but what ended up happening, and there's a huge, there was a huge like scandal with this happening with this guy. So he would string you along, and then have money sent to the title company. The title company, after he canceled the contract, and I only put this together after he canceled the contract, they write a check out to his name, and then he gets to walk away with the money. And have you ever asked for an ID when you're working with someone?
No.
Right. So the money comes in from the source.
My title company does that. You have to show a driver's license
when they get to closing, right? But when you write a contract, So
yeah.
money comes in from a random source.
So I'm guessing it wasn't his money until he got the check.
Yeah, he got the money. So they were using this as a vehicle to launder money through. And he totally disappeared off the face of the earth. And I've never spun my wheels so much trying to figure out who someone is and how like who, what, where, when, why. And the reason I wanted to tell that story is because I know he's out there and he's doing the same thing. So if any realtors see this,
he's probably coming after me now, and I'll be like, yay, he's got $200,000.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
Yeah,
so that's how I reacted. Oh, so weird. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
I have so many funny stories. What's your funniest story?
Well, I fell down in front of my client. Did you see my video?
I did.
Oh my God, you didn't see it?
No, I did. That's you? The girl that, oh my God,
that's over my head. Yeah, that's me.
Sam, I swear to God, I didn't know that. Of course it is. Your laugh is the same. Oh my God, we loved that video.
Oh, that's
what's so funny? Okay, so this is so funny. Right after that happened, oh my God, you're so funny. That was the best. That was like the laugh that that
Yeah.
I didn't even know. That was so organic. I did not know that. I swear on my life, I didn't
It was a
realize that
good
until
belly
just
laugh.
now. So a couple days before that, one of my agents was showing one of our listings, and an agent who was being super dismissive and a total bitch, serves her right, nothing I wouldn't say to her face, walked directly into, she was in her phone texting, and she walked directly into the pool and full on fell into the pool with her cell phone, with her bag. And the reason I'm saying that in like a zealous way is because she was really, really being rude and like not, when like someone's showing your listing and they're making you look bad by like, and the seller is like, they're on the cameras watching you and they're like, why are you showing the property to this chick? Straight up into the pool.
Well, I'm glad they had cameras on. I hope they got that on camera.
I'm playing your video in my head. Oh my God, it was your video.
Yeah, that's
so
me.
Funny. Oh, you're famous.
And that's why I started doing this.
I did not even know that.
Get other people to tell their funny stories. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Well, before that, what was the funniest thing that happened to you?
I fell down the steps and my client rode me like a sled, which is also part of that video.
Okay, besides something that was on TikTok, what is something on that video?
I don't know. I fall down a lot. And I'm really gullible, like really gullible. Like somebody, I spent a long time staring at the siding on a house one time because there was like just this square that was a different color on the side of the house. And I was like, why do you suppose that's a different color than the rest of the house? The buyer goes over and he moves the screen and he's like, is that better? And I'm like, oh my God.
Oh. That's funny.
I was sitting there looking at it. I'm like, why is that like that? Trying to think of a logical reason why it would be discolored. And no, it was just a screen.
That's funny.
So I make a fool of myself all the time. And then I'm scared to death of snakes and basements. So my inspector that I work with, somebody had rubber snakes in the property, to keep the birds away or something. And he threw one at me and I almost quit breathing.
Nope. Nope. What a dick. We have a frog problem in Florida, so there are frogs everywhere, and I do not do. I feel like I've become the animal hater. This is like steep departure from where we started here. I don't hate animals, but I really hate frogs. And I once canceled a showing because to get to the lockbox, there was a frog on the lockbox. And God bless my client. They were like, yeah, we don't really like it anyway. It was probably the perfect house for them. And they felt so bad for me because I'm like, I will not open it. And I can't give you the code either.
Right.
Realtor ethics. That was when I still cared about realtor ethics. This was years ago. Now I would have just given them the code. Just kidding. That's funny. I think that's what makes the best realtors, though. Your laugh is so freaking infectious. I love it. People want to, I say this all the time. My brand is, so I sell all this like luxury shit, whatever. My brand is so casual and fun and like high energy because people want to work with people that they want to be friends with in real estate specifically. They hire the woman that they want to be friends with who's not going to come into their house and be like, oh,
judgy,
all suited up and like super mega luxury. Yeah. Because like your house probably looks like this.
So they should probably hire me to come to Florida and sell some luxury houses,
Yes, girl. Yes. Let's do it. Come visit me. We'll take you around. We'll reenact one of my agents fell down the stairs at a listing actually of like a $12 million property and broke something.
Something of theirs or something of hers?
Of theirs.
Oh, that could be really bad.
It was really bad. I just kind of aborted what I was saying because I don't want to like throw her under the bus. I think this is still kind of a pain point. It was not great. Not great. Because she was hurt too. That was a weird thing. I have so many weird stories. Nothing funny.
I just make a ton of jokes whenever I'm out with people. Like they're always laughing. Mostly because I'm ditzy. I'm really ditzy. And I'm really gullible. And I fall a lot. It's like the perfect storm in an agent. You can convince me of almost anything, if you're believable enough. I'll buy it.
What could I sell you right now? Oh my God, I'm not good on the fly. What is funny on the fly? Let me think. There's something. Well, you probably would have believed this guy. Your red flag, your spidey senses probably would have. You would have been all in on him, on our boy Brian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would have been. That would have been it for me when he asked to spend the night there, because if you can afford to buy a $6 million house, you can afford to buy a bed if it's not comfortable. You know.
Yeah, it was so weird.
Or
and
you could afford to change the room so it's more feng shui. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, $6 million. I mean, remodeling that's, just change,
Yeah. Yeah.
That would have been a red flag for me. Like,
yeah. It was, but it could have been, because I'm the eternal optimist, it could have been the real deal. And I couldn't figure out why he wasn't. Like, there was like nothing that he gave me until he started talking about family barbecues. I just thought of something that's kind of funny. There's one of my clients who has one of the biggest sports contracts like of all time, wrote me a blank check and left it on the counter. And that was probably one of the most serendipitous moments of my entire life, because I couldn't, I wanted so badly to share it on Instagram. Like, if so-and-so trusts me with a blank check, like, you're good to trust me with all of your real estate.
How much should I write this out for?
Yeah, literally. It was for his rent. And he was like, just fill it out. And I'm like, you are worth all the zeros.
Right.
What? I had a guy, a Korean guy, and I say that because I'm still not sure. In fact, if anyone's watching this and is Korean, tell me if this is a cultural thing or not, or if this guy is just a gangster. But he paid me in all cash. This was for a high-end rental, so they were spending, I think, like $15,000 a month for, let's say, 3 months, so $45,000 total. Mm-hmm. That he gave me in all cash in Ziploc bags, and he gave me an extra $1,000. So there was like a language barrier, and I was trying to explain to them that I can't take cash, and then I was like, fuck it, I'll just take it. Like, I'll go get whatever. Yeah, I spent like 30 seconds trying to explain it, and I was like, we'll figure it out. But he gave me an extra $1,000, and so I circled back with him, and I had to explain that there was an extra 1,000, and I still can't figure out if that was something that was cultural or not. Like, if they were testing me, if I would give it back.
I think, like, I worked with a couple that were from China, and the wife was like, oh, well, I have this much cash. Can I pay cash? And her husband's like, you don't have to pay cash. This is America. You don't have to pay cash. We can write a check, because where they were from, cash was good, so they had to pay cash for everything. So they were just used to that. Like, she was so afraid that she didn't have enough cash with her. I'm like, you can just write a check, So it's totally different. He says in China, that's how they did it. And he says she's used to that, and he just kept telling her, just get the checkbook, just get the checkbook.
Yeah, I think, no, it's, like the paper trail surrounding it. Actually, did the news of the Asian spa scandal reach you there in Wisconsin?
The murder thing?
No, so there was Bob Kraft, the owner of the Patriots. He got like busted for there was a massage parlor in Florida.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Do you remember this?
Yes.
Okay, so this is, I should have told, I forgot about this. This is my funny story. Do you still have time? Do you have time?
Yeah.
This is a good story.
After this.
Yeah, this is a good story. So when I first got my real estate license, I got a call I was with Keller Williams at the time, and I was on floor time, and my little team of like 3 people got a lead, and it was a woman with a very, very heavy Chinese accent, and she said that she had cash and wanted to buy a house, and we're all looking at each other like, yeah, awesome. We have a live one. It's that easy. We ended up meeting up with her, and she all that we could get out of her but with the language barrier was that she worked at a spa, and she saved up money, and she had $400,000 to spend on a home. Now, she wanted to buy a home that had a master bedroom on the ground level. It had to have a master bedroom also on the second level. It had to have 3 different ways in and out. It had to be fully fenced. It had to be in a gated community. There were all these very specific criteria items. And again, me being an idiot, thinking there was some kind of like cultural reason, whatever. We find her this house, and she wanted to buy all of the content. So all of the furniture. And then in addition to that, she also wanted to buy all of the seller's personal items. So like their clothing, all the food that they had. And again, at the time we were like, well, is this a cultural thing? We don't know. We're not going to ask. We have a live one. We sold a house. We'd sold like 3 houses at this point. So this was a Zillow lead, or no, an office call. So we close on the house and the money gets wired. It ends up getting wired from China, which was very, very weird. And I remember that sticking out to me because she was so proud of the money that she had earned here and that she had the cash. So but I didn't think too much about it. Anyway, fast forward 5 years, and this was 2 years ago. And I get a call. So I pick up my phone, Meyer Lucas team, this is Holly. And the other person on the other line goes, "Hi, this is Tim with the FBI. Is this Holly?"
Oh,
and you have no idea how fast your like life flashes before your eyes when someone says that, because there are 100 things that I have done that may be warranting a phone call from the FBI. So immediately I'm like,
yeah. And if you're part of the FBI, so am I. There's so many scammers. I'd be like, yeah, right.
Well, I mean, it was the way he said it was so official, and he was part of the FBI, and so immediately I'm like, oh God, like what, what escalated? Anyway, so one of the first things that they did when the Asian spa was busted, where Robert Kraft and a bunch of others were frequenting and getting these shady massages. So our client, who I'm not even going to say her name, but our client, one of the first things an investigator will do is they'll look at who represented them in any real estate capacity, because realtors are talkers and we remember shit. Yes. And which is so smart, right? So we
write shit down.
Yeah. I was like, I'll tell you everything about this.
Paper trail. You want to know
what she wore? You want to know what she drove? What she had for lunch? I'll tell you everything. Critical details, no. Minutia, yes. So anyway, we were kind of involved in that investigation because we represented the ring, and it's a huge, huge national ring of these massage parlors all across the country that are, so they buy homes and then they house these poor girls. They take their passports and hold them hostage, and literally hold them hostage and have them work in these massage parlors.
Oh my God, that's awful.
Oh, it's horrible. It's horrible. But we were a part of the investigation before it kind of broke. And it was, at the time, the list of men who had frequented this spa locally was pretty substantial. So obviously I don't keep secrets well. We just went over this. So that sucked for like a month. When people are like, "Hey, Holly, how are you?" And I'm like,
"Well, I'll tell you what happened."
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. So Diane says she's half Korean and they pay for apartments in cash, not usually extra. And she also says, like, her mom will only buy a kitchen that faces south.
So that was one of the things that that there was criteria around how the house should and should fit, and they made a bigger deal, or they made a huge deal out of the numbers on the house. Yep. Like I guess eights are bads, or sevens are bads or are bad. But
they're
come
very
to find
superstitious.
So come to find out, one of the reasons why I think they were doing that is so that they could make the ask for, like, they could confuse us enough about their superstitions to ask for, they wanted all the clothing and all the food and all the Tupperwares and everything, because they literally had like all these girls that were living. It's really, really sad, actually.
Right. Yeah.
But we just chalked it up as being like, oh, well, that's weird.
Yeah, I mean, you would never think that that's what they were going to do with it. I mean,
oh, absolutely not, absolutely not. And the reason, actually, it was weird when they ended up busting the whole thing and blowing it wide open. I think that Bob Kraft's PR team had a head start on it, because he had like a private investigator that was watching that neighborhood in the house, and then when they busted, it was so weird seeing her get our client on like national TV so yeah, I said I work with a lot of celebrities, right? I work with the Asian. She's a celebrity.
She's a celebrity.
Very much so.
Yeah. Well, that's scary. That makes me rethink everything now when people say stuff, like.
Oh yeah, and all the things that you don't put together too. Like, right. I think we as realtors become so intimately involved in so many people's lives. Yeah. And it happens occasionally where you're like, after the fact, like, wait, that was probably a little weird. Yeah. I always get I always catch the high signs or the red flags when we get brought out to do a listing presentation and it's very obvious that we're being brought there because there's a divorce happening. and they're trying to work it out among them, and they need to know how much the house is worth.
Right.
I
That's always
always,
fun.
I always this happens all the time where you're sitting there and you want to just go, can we just talk about the fact that you guys are getting a divorce?
I know. Let's sit down for our
So much
therapy.
rather, like, yeah.
That happened to me once too. The situation was just weird. I'm like, but why would you do that? I was just asking all these questions, because what their plans were after they sold the house didn't make sense to me. So I kept asking these questions, but why would you do that? And finally they're like, because Sam, we're getting a divorce. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm so sorry. It all makes sense now.
Like, why not just say that? Why not just say that?
Right.
Now that we've talked about this, I'm gonna have this newfound bravery. And next time it happens, I'm gonna be like, I know you're getting a divorce. And that's not gonna be one.
All right. Well, I better wrap this up. Thank you so much.
Great talking to you.
I'm going to talk you into the waiting room. So just hold on, okay?
Bye.
Thank you. All right. That's it for tonight. I hope you'll join us next week, Wednesday night, live on Facebook and YouTube. And see you then. I hope you enjoyed tonight's episode. I'm having so much fun with the show and with real estate, and none of this would have been possible had I not partnered with Chuck and Angela Fazio with eXp Realty. They've helped me grow and are helping me build my business.
Yeah, it's our favorite thing to do, Sam. Chuck and I have been, top realtors in the industry. We've run top teams. We actually had the second largest independent single office brokerage in the world, but we shut it down so that we can move it over to eXp. And so now we get to spend all of our time working with brilliant people like you, helping you build your business in a variety of ways. So if you're interested in hearing about what it means to partner with me, with Sam, with my husband, Chuck, Michael, Reese, Jay Kinder, it can be done. We can all work together. So just give us a call.